Look, snowboarding is basically skateboarding, right? Sure, it can be angsty, it can have tude. Cool Orders 2 is what happens when you take skateboarding culture and slap it on snowboarding, which isn't a bad thing or even an uncommon thing. This was going on all over the place in the 90s. Got a means of transportation? Just slap skateboarding culture on it and now you've got an extreme sport. Oh my god, this kid looks absolutely terrified. It was a different time. A simpler time. Jackass and the internet hadn't yet shown us the embarrassing endgame of the angsty daredevil trend, and if you weren't overflowing with apathy, you were just like, whatever dude. You could still drink a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce to impress your friends, and they'd think you were super badass. This kid is out of control, and his friends think he's awesome.
He is a beast.
And you know what? I think he's awesome too. This is Cool Borders 2. This game comes to us from Web Systems, a Japanese studio. They made the first entry Cool Borders, but they didn't make the follow-up Cool Borders 3. Actually, Web Systems didn't do much after Cool Borders 2, as you can see here. Strangely, every source I could find states that Web Systems was founded in 1985, so what the heck, man? Anyway, we're treated to a radical intro with actual snowboarding footage interspersed with some gameplay. It looks grainy as crap now, but having video like this in a game was a big deal still. Remember, we'd only just come from cartridges, where the space limitations would never allow for this amount of video. Once we're in, we're presented with several game modes. There's Competition, Freestyle, Big Air, Halfpipe, and Board Park. Competition is the main mode of the game, but we'll be seeing Big Air mode later too. You start by picking a border that you use for the duration of the competition mode, but you can change your board between rounds if you want. Yagi and Aaron are more tricks-oriented boarders, Cindy is an all-arounder, and Jin is all about racing. I decided to go with Jin. The boards are similarly divided. There are tricks boards, all-around boards, and racing boards. I went with the board with the highest top speed. Each round in competition mode includes a tricks portion and a racing portion. The tricks part comes first, and the result of that determines the starting order of the race. So you start by jumping off a ramp twice and trying to nail the most sick nasty trick you can. Doing the tricks is actually my favorite part of Cool Borders 2. Say you want to do a backflip, you'd hold down the jump button, hold down on the D-pad, and then release them to do the jump. But the jump charges, so you have to judge the distance, so you charge it enough to complete the flip. Do it wrong and you could either charge it too much and land on your back, or charge too little and spike your dome on the ice. It sounds difficult, and it seems that way at first, but once you get a feel for it, it's so rewarding when you land a complicated trick. The grabs are done with the face buttons by entering combinations. Some grabs are only one button, and some require more than one button, but you'll get a higher score. You can even do multiple grabs in one jump. So, Jin sucks at tricks, and he's on a board that sucks at tricks too. So my strategy was simple: spin to win with Rocket Jin. I'd charge a spin jump and try to do one grab and then just hope it all worked out. Then when I got to the race, I could do 100 miles an hour. And you know what? I did manage to spin to win. The courses you race on are great. This first one takes you through a snowy village, a tunnel, and a few jumps. It's easy and it has that comfy first race sort of feel. Everything's well designed and looks great. When racing, you can crouch down to increase your speed, and you can use square to cut sharply for difficult turns. Rocket Jin destroyed the competition here. The second round jump is on the same ramp, which is the stadium kicker. It's just at a different time of day. I forgot to mention there are Butterfinger ads all over the place in this game. There are also banners that just read cool. We need banners like these at all sporting events. Cool, neat, fun. Butterfinger happens to be a top tier bar, so I'm gonna give it a pass this time. So after successfully spinning again, I was off to the second race at Sunset Downhill. This course has a few harder turns, and there's this tree that blocks most of the way at one point, teaching players they'll need to either jump or occasionally dodge obstacles. The namesake of the course is this cool section where you're boarding along the edge of the mountain, and it's a good way to show players that, yeah, you can fall off the mountain, which is something I will definitely be doing later. Overall, it's not a long or hard course, but I do think it's well designed to ease players into the upcoming challenges. And Rocket Jin again destroyed the competition. What a maniac. We have a new jump this time around, Ice Fang. It has a raised edge that I completely ignore as Jin spins it to wins it. And after that is Bear in the Forest. Now it needs to be said, I didn't find a bear in the forest. I assume there's a bear somewhere, so if you know, tell me, because I want to find that bear. Anyway, this course is all about dodging trees. You get a nice sound of the branches slapping your border as you pass by. I did end up hitting some trees. It's pretty hard to dodge them, at least with Rocket Gin. Compared to the previous two courses, this one is much more stressful, and it's a nice escalation in difficulty. The music during these races is an awesome collection of punky, kinda thrashy songs, and I think they're a great fit for the game and well written. I got third this time around due to assassination attempts by the trees. You know, across all media, across all time, it seems to be believed that the trees are one day gonna get vengeance on us. I wonder if these trees know Old Man Willow in Tom Bombadil's forest. I don't know. I just assume they want to slowly crush me in their horrible wooden bodies, that's all I'm trying to say. Getting third prompted a board change because it can't possibly be my excellent racing that caused this third place. I went for the Type 1 Alpine board, which is a smidge slower but has more response and stability. I also changed up Jin's outfit to show he's a new man with a new plan, which is to spin and then race a little bit slower than before. I chose Clash and Camo so at least half of me would be invisible depending on the circumstances. A tactical advantage, I hope. We're back at Ice Fang for our next jump, but all is not well. A new board means new trick stats, which means my spin to win 1080 stiffy was no longer working. I crashed both attempts and ended up starting out in last freaking place. Disaster. Then it's off to railroad trip. But where's the train? I only saw one bit of railway here. Oh wait, there's the train. Okay, I didn't even notice this while I was playing. The course itself is fun and a bit easy. This half-pipey bit is cool and there are these little gaps. I think having the player board over a train bridge or something would have been great. I don't know, needs more train. But you know, it has to be said that the graphics are really good for the time, so I'm definitely not complaining about that. Anyway, I got first on this one. I switched gear again though because I was worried about not being able to spin. I decided to try the all-around Type 3 board, giving up speed again for more control. I was winning races still, so maybe I didn't need all that speed. Alright, so I got my spin on, but I forgot to do a grab. I landed the spin at least though, so maybe Spin to Win Jin is back? The next course is Take It Easy, which is a fitting name because it's a short course and pretty easy. It looks like there's a shortcut here. There are actually what seem like shortcuts sprinkled throughout the courses, but they are always pretty hard to reach, so I haven't been able to react to them in time. This one seems pretty easy though. You can just board between the trees and jump the gap, I think. There's nothing particularly remarkable about Take It Easy, but it's not bad by any means. I took first place here without much effort, and I decided to stick with my gear for the next round. This time we're off to the Titan's Toe. Now, Titan's Toe is tricky. You have a long descent towards this ramp, and I found it really hard to land anything here. And sometimes it would look like I should have landed, but instead I would just crash. This is a tough jump for Jin. The next course is Pipeline Canyon. Unlike Railroad Trip, the pipes are all over the place in this course, snaking their way down the mountain. I like how the pipes form the checkpoint gate here. There's also this shortcut you can take by crossing this pipe. I ended up crashing a couple of times on this race, and I even fell off the mountain at one point. You can see how hard it is to maneuver with Jin. I ended up in 6th place at the end, but despite the rough finish, I was still in the lead overall by about 10 points. After that 6th place, I decided to change my gear again and went for the all-around Type 1. Ooh, and a fancy new outfit. We're back to Stadium Kicker for this jump. Spinny Ginny managed to land the first jump, but he crashed on the second. Ah, crap, I'd have to start in 6th place. This is Freezing Point, and it's a bit wild compared to the other courses. It's dark, snowing, and full of tons of sharp turns. There are obstacles to dodge and a bridge you have to cross too. There are even these gaps you have to charge your jump to get over. This was the hardest course so far, and I ended up placing 7th. Not good. I was still in 1st place overall though, albeit with only a 4-point lead. The next jump was on Ice Fang, and like the previous time, Jin landed the first jump and crashed on the second. I'd have to start in 8th place. Brutal. The next course is Winding River. This is another oddly named course because as far as I can tell, there's only actually one place you can see the river, and of course I happened to fall into it. Apart from that, the course is definitely easier than Freezing Point, but still has some tricky turns. I ended up in 6th yet again. Not good. I'd officially lost 1st place. Boss was now ahead of me by 3 points, and I'd have to place higher than him on the final race. I decided to switch gear yet again, and I went for the all-around Type 3 board. I was getting tired of running into things because I couldn't turn quickly enough. After completely failing on Titan's toe again, it was off to the final race. Seriously, it's so hard to land anything on this jump with Jin. The final course is Snow Ruins, and of course, I was starting in 8th place. This track is great and hard. The course is often narrow with these sharp turns. The ruins are well placed all around the course, and I especially like how they have these walls on the sides. I thought this was a great last course. Okay, so I finished in 6th. Again, not freaking good. But I managed to do better than Boss. I just didn't know if it'd be enough. 2 points. I lost by 2 friggin' points, dude. We get to see Jin on the podium in the first loser spot. We're skipping those though because we haven't won first. For completing the tour, we also unlocked mirror mode. Instead of going right back into the tour, I decided to practice a bit on the big air jumps. My goal was to find the right distance to land a flip on each of the jumps. I needed more consistency, and the spinning thing was not cutting it. After a bit of trial and error, I did figure out the distance for each of the jumps, even the Titan's toe. So, with more consistent jumps, hopefully I could place higher on the ladder tracks and get that first place. Okay, back to the tour I go. As before, the first half of the tour's races are pretty easy, so now that I had more consistent jumps, I was getting first after first with no problem. But then things took a turn again when I reached the Titan's toe. For some reason, I was able to land my jumps consistently when practicing, but when it came to the real thing, I crashed both times again. I had to start Pipeline Canyon in 8th place, but I ended up finishing in a respectable 4th, so not bad. After that, I immediately switched to the all-around Type 1 for Freezing Point. I finished in 5th here despite landing both of my jumps beforehand. That's not surprising though, Freezing Point is a hard course. I still had a 10-point lead, I just had to hold on. I swapped again to the Alpine Type 1 for Winding River. Then disaster struck. I missed one of my jumps and had to start in 8th. Crap, not again. And then I choked on the race. I crashed a bunch and finished in 7th place. Come on. Miraculously, I still had a 9-point lead, but things were starting to fall apart. So it was back to Titan's toe again. I decided to try spinning, and miraculously, I actually landed a jump. It didn't matter though, I had basically no points, so I still had to start in 8th place. I mean, that's okay, I just had to place better than Yagi and Boss to guarantee victory. Easy, right? Well, not so much. I finished in 6th place. Boss finished in 1st place. But, to my surprise, it was just enough, and I won by 2 points. Yes, sweet revenge. Take that, Boss, you jerk. So now I get to see Jin on the podium in 1st place and check out the credits. The credits are great, by the way. Definitely worth a look. Alright, I'd beaten Tour Mode, but I didn't feel like I'd beaten Cool Orders 2 yet. It was time to take on Big Air Master Mode. In this mode, you board down an endless series of jumps and have to perform the tricks presented to you. For each trick you perform successfully, you get time added to your total. The goal is to see how far you can get down the mountain. My goal was to complete 100 tricks. At first, the game displays the trick and the input for it, but after a bit, it stops showing you the inputs unless you fail the trick. The difficulty slowly ramps up. You begin with grabs, then spins and flips with grabs, then multiple grabs in one jump, multiple grabs while doing spins and flips, and finally more rotations on the spins and flips. Eventually the game only shows you the tricks briefly at the bottom. So basically you have to memorize all of the trick names and inputs and then be able to perform them on demand. It's actually really fun. I spent at least a couple hours working at it. Eventually, I went on this crazy run and completed 192 tricks. Holy crap. This unlocked Gray, who's an alien that boards on a UFO. Hell yeah. He also has bonkers trick stats and his jumps are hilarious. With that, I decided Cool Orders 2 is beaten. It's easy to see why this game became a greatest hit. The gameplay is just really fun, and while the trick system is more difficult than something like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it's really satisfying. The music is cool, there are a bunch of things to unlock, and there are several fun game modes. And even though the courses could reflect their themes a little better sometimes, the graphics are solid. What more could you want from a snowboarding game from this era? Cool Orders 2 is a certified banger. Hey, thanks for watching my video. You're awesome.